Hey, good morning. Yes, today's Sunday. Yep. So, what I thought we'd talk about today is what it takes to be a business owner and to take it from the beginning, get it up to where you maintain, and then keep it going and decide when you want to stop growth or whether you want to continue to grow. Because all of these are going to be choices that you're going to have to deal with. So let me start off by saying not everyone is cut out to be a business owner. No. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's like 1 in 10 make it through. The other 90% fail at business and starting a business because they didn't realize how much time and energy had to go into it, or they didn't have the tools and the mindset of how to approach it. That's a high number of failures. So the idea that anyone can start a business, I think, is a correct statement as far as I'm concerned. But not everyone is cut out for it. See, some of that 90% get into it and then realize this is not for me. There's too many risks. I'm tired of this up and down, good day, bad day, and being responsible for everything. My leg is still killing me from Friday on that tractor. But there's a certain unique properties or traits of someone that will succeed at running their own small business. You have to have stamina. You have to be willing to put the time in. You have to be willing to sacrifice family events, outings, vacations, you name it. And you have to be willing to work for nothing until you can get it up and going. Being a business owner is not easy. Now, if you're a business owner that you're buying somebody else's business that they've already got up to here and now all you have to do is maintain it, you still have to make sacrifices. And the biggest thing that I see when somebody buys out somebody else's business is that the person in charge changes. And what do I mean by changes? I mean, what was the prior business owner's priorities are not the new owner's priorities. Most businesses that I know that succeed, the owner's priorities are their employees, their customers, and everybody working together in a win-win situation. New owner may come in, crap on its employees, and have an attitude of, I don't need you as a customer, go somewhere else. And look to just make a quick buck. This business was successful when the business owner had their priorities straight. This business owner is going to fail because he hasn't got the employees helping him anymore because they're tired of being crapped on. The customers aren't coming anymore because they don't feel like that You can't run a business, folks, unless you have customers. You have to appreciate and let them know you appreciate their business. I'm not saying that you're not going to get a bad apple once in a while, but to me, a lot of times I can take that bad apple and turn them into a good apple. You know, sometimes they just need a different approach. And they're there for the quick buck. And that quick buck probably is not going to be there. Even though that business has been profitable for 30 years, just the change at the helm can destroy that business and that business model. That's why I say, if you don't have your priorities straight and know how to run a business successfully, then probably isn't a good idea to buy somebody else's. And when I say run it successfully, work your way up. Most of us did. You know, from employee to human resources to middle branch or middle management, upper management, and run the company. Find out what everybody is doing and how they're doing it. What I can tell you is that the micromanager idea in a small business doesn't work either. It doesn't work in most businesses except for government, but you have to place trust in your customers and your employees and the people that surround you. If you have very little trust or confidence in anybody, you're probably going to fail. You're in that 90 percentile. Because I'll be honest with you, half the battle of starting and maintaining a business is finding good quality employees and retaining them. And yes, you do need to let them know that you appreciate what they do. And that what they think is very important to you. I encourage my employees, if they've got something to say that about how to run the business better, or quicker ways of doing things, or it doesn't matter. I don't want my employees standoffish because they fear that they could piss me off or something. That's never going to happen. And as an employer, you need to be able to sit there and zip it and listen to what that employee is telling you. Now, it may have been tried before and it didn't work. Or maybe it's not the way you would run the business. But you need to at least hear them out. And I have to attribute the growth of this business, when it plateaued at right around $1 million a year, was possible because of my employees. To sit here and tell you I did it all myself would be lying. You have to give credit where credit is due. Now, was I the one making most of the sacrifices? Yes. Was I the one that sometimes didn't get paid? Yes. But I learned early on that I couldn't do it all myself, and that I had to have trust in other people. And that's hard for a business owner to admit sometimes, because they are driven so hard that they feel most people are incompetent. Now, again, I grant it to you that 90% of businesses fail. 10% make it. Those 10%, I guarantee you, have learned how to manage and retain good employees, and they let their customers know how much they appreciate their business. And along those lines of having good employees and retaining them, also comes the responsibility that you have of cutting and getting rid of the dead wood, or the ones that cause constant turmoil. Here's something that I learned years ago. I don't care how good that employee is. If all they're going to do is have constant turmoil amongst all the rest of the employees on a continual basis, you need to let that person go. As much as they may be the best mechanic and they do great quality work, but they're constantly backstabbing and talking about others behind their backs, other employees, and causing rifts, you can't have that. You can't have that internal fighting and struggling continually in your business. You need to cut that person loose. And that goes for deadwood. And what do I call deadwood? Deadwood is a mechanic that you're paying by the hour. I'm using mechanic because the repair shop. And a lot of you guys either have a shop or you're looking to create a shop. Deadwood is someone that tells me that they are a certified blah 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 mechanic and how great they are. But if they spend half an hour walking back and forth after looking at a bolt in a nut on a unit that needs to be taken off, they should be recognizing whether it's a 9/16, 3/8, what have you, and make one trip across the repair shop to their toolbox to get what they need, instead of grabbing one, coming over, trying it, oh, that doesn't work, going back, trying another one, that doesn't work. Ones that are not pulling their weight, are not accomplishing the jobs that they applied for. And they may be one of the nicest people you ever met. But those guys don't care how long it takes, because they're getting paid $20+ an hour, whether they get the job done in an hour or in 5 hours. You're going to have overachievers, achievers, and underachievers. And you need to recognize and manage each. And I just had a friend of mine stop yesterday, and they run a multi-million-dollar rental business on heavy equipment. And the hardest thing that they're having problems with right now is getting good employees, getting good mechanics to be able to work on some of this stuff. And the newer stuff now is all electronic. You need to be able to use software, whether it's John Deere or Caterpillar or whatever. You need to know how to use it and get the jobs done. And he was telling me about this one certain employee that he calls the walkabout employee. And the walkabout employee is doing the same thing that I just said about being able to look at a half-inch bolt and a half-inch nut. And no, that's half-inch. Go over to the toolbox, get a half-inch socket, ratchet, and take it off. Instead of spending 20 minutes walking back and forth trying different ones. Me, as a mechanic, I look at what the job is, and then we have rolling cabinets where you can have your socket set on top, your screwdriver, whatever everything you think you might need, and roll the cabinet over to the job so that you don't have to walk back and forth. And he asked me, he said, what do I do about that person? I said, the best thing you can do about that employee, flat rate them. Tell them, this is how long I expect that job to take. This is what I'll pay you for that job to get it done. And if you run over, it's on your time. If you get it done quicker, you made a few extra bucks. And let's find out if that walkabout employee is doing it just to kill time during the day and he's getting paid on an hourly basis, or is he really not that good a mechanic that he can't recognize that stuff? So I'll have to wait and hear how he turned out. See, I also talk to a lot of business owners that are in different fields than what I am in. And I also will ask questions of him, because he lives just up the road, of how to manage this or manage that. Because the man has run 2 successful businesses. One was in glass and in doing like colleges and government buildings, and where they come in, they make the glass right on site, thermal paint, everything, put it together, frame it. And he's got 4 or 5 crews that are out there doing that at different locations. And then this equipment business started because his son was in the military and he wanted something to, when he got time to retire, he could stay working, something on the side. So at that time, a military installation in our area was starting to expand, and this man fronted the money for new equipment to go out and be leased by these contractors that were working on the base for so much an hour or a day or a week, what have you. Because most of the bigger contractors, they don't bring their own equipment in. They lease the equipment as locally as possible, so when they're done with the job, the rental place will pick up the equipment. And he goes from right down to the mini excavators right up through to the big berthas, cranes, you name it. I mean, heavy equipment is heavy equipment. So I guess what I'm trying to say is customers and employees can make or break you. Employees more so, because you can't do it without them. You have to have quality employees. And you need to be able to let people go that are not doing what they should be doing, where you have a nice, everybody gets along and everybody tries to get their work done and everybody chips in and helps each other. That's the ideal workplace. And customers, yes, you're going to get a bad apple once in a while, but the bulk of your customers, if they feel appreciated, you will see them every year. You will retain them, and they will tell others, and you will keep growing. But you have to have the ability to see that, understand that, and then take the needed action that's required of a business owner. It's not all about you as a business owner. It's about how you manage things and how much of a problem solver you really are. Because you're going to encounter quite a few problems and hurdles. And how you approach it and get through it means a lot when it comes to being that in that 10th percentile of being a successful business. If you fail at any of those things, you'll end up in the 90 percenters. So this video, I wanted to put it together because I didn't want the misconception that everybody in this channel that's watching this video is going to succeed. They can succeed. You can succeed. But you have to sit down and really think it out. Are you willing to give up a lot, sacrifice a lot? And as you grow, do you have the ability to manage employees? Or is this something that you can learn along the way on how to manage employees? And a good gauge of it is how you manage friends and family. You know, how you treat them. So let's kind of wrap this video up. The main reason I went with this video is because I wanted people to know, I wanted you to know that 90% of the people that try to create a business, a small business, fails. And there's a lot of reasons. But the biggest reasons that I see when I see a business fail is that they haven't learned how to manage time, manage employees, manage customers, and they didn't understand the sacrifices that a business owner is going to have to go through. Now, if you're saying that I'm not willing to sacrifice, to do these sacrifices, that's not a bad thing either, because you recognize that this probably isn't for you. And there's not a thing wrong with it. Being an employee for somebody is not a bad thing. It requires us to look inside of ourselves to see if we have the traits and the willingness to give up a lot to achieve our dreams. And it's the willingness to make the sacrifices, willingness to understand that you're going to have problems and hurdles, and having the ability to correct and make it right. It also requires of us to make the hard decisions of when to let somebody go. That may be, because I can tell you right now, the worst employees are going to be family and friends. I can tell you right now. But if they're not pulling their weight, you need to be able to, and I on any particular thing, like with employees, you know, if you have a person that's causing chaos, or a person that is, we call the walkabout, bring them in or take them aside and explain what you're saying and what you're not willing to tolerate, and give them a warning. And if they don't heed your warning, cut them loose. I don't care how great an employee they are as far as their work. Cut them loose. You're either going to have to do that or cut everybody else loose, because they're going to start leaving. Because if you don't provide a positive atmosphere at the job site where everybody enjoys coming to work and working together, your good employees are going to walk to that next shop that manager understands how to manage employees and how to provide a positive workspace. So it comes down to, are you going to be the 10% that succeed or the 90% that doesn't make it? It's all up to you. As with any of my videos, this is strictly advice. And take what you need and leave the rest. Because each business and each business owner is going to approach things differently. But in the same token, they're going to approach a lot of the things the same way, the ones that are going to make it. And that is the ones that know how to manage everything going on around them. And understanding the sacrifices that are going to take place. They don't go in with blinders on. They've done their research. They've made a good foundation to build from. And they know that it takes time. And that will get you to be closer to that 10% than the 90%, if you can understand that as well. So on that note, you guys have a great Sunday. And tomorrow we'll be trying to do part 3 of Shop Talk. I don't see where a lot of you guys are watching the building a business. If it's not your cup of tea, it's not your cup of tea. But my hopes is that I'm creating videos that you're interested in. Period. You know, I could sit here and talk for hours and bore you to death, and that's not what I want to do. See, my wife told me years ago, if I want to be a successful business person, what I needed to do is sit and record an hour to an hour and a half of me just rambling on with my tone of voice, and then selling it as a sleeping aid because it would constantly put her asleep. Hey, to each their own. All right, thanks so much for watching the videos, comments, you know, what you think, what you don't think, what have you. Appreciate y'all. Thanks for watching.